Welcome to episode 204 of Level Up, 60 minutes of live Q&A where your questions drive the show. My name is Stephan Brendel, and on behalf of APMG, I am your host today. If you're watching on YouTube, please do give this video a like and subscribe to the channel. It's free, helps others to find our content. And a great option for yourself is to join our community and sign up for a personalized weekly update. Just follow the link below. My colleague Adriana is in the social chat for you, so please let her know your name and the city from where you are joining. She will post a link to vote up the questions that you would most like answered, and of course for you to add your own. If your question is selected, your name will appear in the credits at the end of the show. So get yours in early and stay with us to see that happen. In the symphony of change, Agile leadership conducts the rhythm, orchestrating adaptability and harmonizing with change management and business analysis to compose a seamless path to success. Sounds interesting? Well, then let's get started and meet our expert panel from around the globe to uncover the dynamic interplay that propels organizations. Joining from Melbourne, Australia is Malini Jayaganesh, a highly experienced business relationship manager who specializes in nurturing high-performing BRMs and teams. With a background in business analysis, she's regularly invited to deliver keynotes and presentations at professional academic forums in Australia, the US, the United Kingdom, and India. Welcome to the panel, Malini.
Thank you very much, Stephan, and hello to my fellow panelists and all our viewers around the world. I think it's going to be a very exciting hour talking about agile leadership.
Yes, I think it is. Thanks, Malini. Nataliya Khylenko is a success-driven transformational leader, BRMP and Business Resilience accredited trainer, with 20 plus years of international experience across several industries. As a resilience ambassador, Nataliya's biggest achievement has been transforming the lives of countless individuals by promoting and cultivating resilience in the face of adversity. Hello to Montreal and welcome, Nataliya.
Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here on this panel today and share my experience and learn from this panelist about the importance of adopting agile mindset and leading with agile vision to be always successful in this unknown unknowns and the world that is changing constantly. So thanks so much for this opportunity.
Yeah, you're welcome, Nataliya. Valerie Smith is a senior leadership development facilitator, trainer, and executive coach with Rich Consulting Corporation. Her passion lies in connecting people's purpose to their work and making a difference in the lives of others. She was an active and well-respected member of the senior leadership team at Royal Victoria Regional Health Centre in Barrie, Ontario. She has also worked at Western University in Canada as a Director of Human Resources. Welcome, Valerie.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to share the screen with these esteemed colleagues. I look forward not only to learning from them, but sharing my learnings and hopefully advancing agile leadership, project management, change management, and just the skills of the leaders that are joining us here today. So good morning, everyone, and thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome, Valerie. Sarbojit Bose is the owner and managing director of Cyberservices in Singapore, where he helps his clients adopt leading practice from DevOps through to security and governance. Always attentive to each client situation, Sarbojit strives to help every client reach their full potential. Welcome, Sarbojit.
Hi. Very good evening, afternoon, and morning for everyone across the globe. I am in Singapore, and it is always a joy to be a part of the panel. And thank you, APMG team, for having me. And before I go, I just want to talk about, there's a small quote that was said that Agile is more of a direction than an end. And it's a philosophy and mindset at the board level. So we're talking about Agile leadership. So I think this goes well in that spirit. Thank you.
Well, we certainly keep that in mind. Thanks, Sarbojit. Giles Lindsay is a senior technology executive and agile leader with over 25 years of experience in diverse sectors. Known for building and scaling high-performing teams, Giles has consistently driven company growth. As the current interim CIO at Satago, he leads digital initiatives and ensures tech drives business goals. Giles was recently included in the annual listing of the 10 most influential leaders in tech to follow in 2023 by the CIO Look magazine. Hello to London and welcome, Giles.
Thank you, Stephan. Look, it's great to be here. Thank you for the invite. This is my first time. I know I'm here with esteemed colleagues who have done this several times, so I will be learning and following them today, but it's a topic I am very, very passionate about, as are all the colleagues here on the panel, and I'm looking forward to all the learnings that come from it.
Yeah, I agree. Everybody from us, with us here is passionate about this. This includes Adrian Pyne, who's completing our panel and joining us from the UK. Adrian is both Director of Consulting and an author of the book Agile Beyond IT, where he champions the adoption of agility across organizations. With a background in both private and public sectors, Adrian invests in coaching and upskilling others. He's joining us from Dorset in the UK today. Welcome, Adrian.
Thank you very much indeed, Stephan. I'm certainly looking forward to hearing the different perspectives on agile leadership from all the panels. I guess, is it a thing or is it somewhat more complex than that? This is going to be fun. Yep, looking forward to it.
Yeah, right. So as you can see, dear visitors, our panelists are from around the globe and they're looking forward to sharing their experience with you and answering your questions. To get this done right, I also want to introduce our question master, Charlotte Miller, APMG's Business Development Manager for the UK and Ireland. Welcome, Charlotte, and may we have our first question, please?
Thanks, Stephan. Yes, our first question today is from Kimball Kissenson. What are the characteristics of an agile leader?
So, an agile leader. So we kick off with the question where we have to tell people about the characteristics. I see a hand raised by Sarbojit and then by Nataliya.
Hi. Thank you very much. It's a wonderful question from Kimball, right? If I'm getting the name correct. The character of an agile leader. Now, there can be, we talk about many characteristics, but a few very basic things should be, as a leader, the person should be very open-minded, should be able to accept the changes which are happening around in the organization as the organization goes through the transformation. So a good of the acceptance and collaboration with other fellow peers and colleagues in the organization. And also one good quality should be, or a character should be, to be comfortable from being uncomfortable, I would say. To come out of the comfort zone and work and have a good listening ear as well for whatever is happening around, and continuously learning and adapting and adopting through these changes that are happening in the organization. So I would say these are very basic things that an agile leader should possess.
All right, thanks, Sarbojit. That was a comprehensive list, I suppose. So Nataliya, what's your view on the characteristics of an agile leader?
Yes, to add to Sarbojit's definition, for me, it's an agile leader is also a resilient leader and equipped with such important aspect as vision. So it's a visionary and who's able to communicate vision to the teams and adapt to changes that come along if the vision is not able to be delivered during the process. As well, it takes composure to be able to deal with teams and continuously inspire others. And also collaboration, as Sarbojit had mentioned. Tenacity is an important skill to have as well, to also lead with strong purpose and reasoning, always being solution oriented. And these are key characteristics that I believe can help a leader to act as agile and successful.
Oh, thanks, Nataliya. By the way, visitors, you don't have to write this all down. There will be a recording available afterwards, so we can enjoy listening. So let's hear next from Adrian then.
Thank you very much. Certainly, Sarbojit and Nataliya have given a very clear view of what Agile leadership looks like, certainly consistent with what the Agile Manifesto says in terms, that influences behavior such as collaboration. So I'm going to take a slightly different tack and having peer-reviewed a few hundred project professionals, one clear thing that brings out Agile leadership for me is the ability to adapt leadership style, even to the needs of the project, to the team, to the organization, sometimes even to the moment. And sometimes that leadership style might not be one which Agile purists will say, hang on a second, you can't be directive. And of course, and sometimes in a project, you need to do that. Other times, you want to do more servant leadership, hopefully most of the time. So that's what I would like to just sort of add to that, the ability to adapt leadership styles to the needs of the now.
All right, thanks, Adrian. And Giles, is there anything you would like to add or contradict or comment?
No, I think my fellow panelists have actually come up with some great answers so far, especially around resilience, listening, and those key capabilities as well. The one thing I wanted to obviously highlight here is that let's not just consider Agile leadership as something that executives do. Right, Agile leadership is something which actually happens at all levels within an organization. So it happens right at the ground, the people who are closest to the outcomes, delivering the value, delighting the customers, as well as those leaders who are obviously looking after those people. For me, one of the key traits for an Agile leader is real servant leadership. Robert Greenleaf's obviously famous book, I should say, from the 1970s. And for me, that level of servant leadership, empowering, looking after the people in the best way possible is absolutely key for a real characteristic of an Agile leader.
Thanks, Giles. And also thanks for taking the term leadership out of the ivory tower and ground it a bit more. That's great. Malini, can we hear from you?
Well, I'd like to add on to what Giles has said. So who's a leader? A leader is a person who can actually inspire others, irrespective of which position they're in. So some of the characteristics of an Agile leader from that perspective are, being able to walking the talk. So actually demonstrating, if we're expecting others to be flexible and adaptable, then we also need to demonstrate that first. And also being comfortable with showcasing vulnerability, right? So when we say we are more agile, we are open to continuously improving ourselves. So being able to showcase, this is something that I could have done better, and I'm going to do something about it now. That's something I think is very important for an Agile leader to demonstrate.
Thanks, Malini. And we have Valerie to add something. Let's hear from you.
Thank you. Going last as a panelist, you wonder if you have something to add, but I think this has flowed quite nicely. Building on what Malini has said, I think that an agile leader is someone that is authentic and transparent. I think that we have an innate response to change and being agile, and that might be, oh my God, but we had a plan. And I think being honest with your team about that and saying, this is my innate response. However, once I have that response, I will be agile, I will work with you, I will listen, and we'll see what the next steps are. That authenticity and being transparent also creates a relationship and trust with your team.
Thanks, Valerie. And dear Kimberly and all the viewers outside, I think there's hardly anything to add, so you got it all. And Charlotte, can we please go to the next question?
Thanks, Stephan. Our next question is from the same person, Kimball. Is there a roadmap to agile leadership?
A roadmap to agile leadership. As we just heard from Giles, which I think was very important, that leadership is something that is in everybody for himself. Depends on how you behave. It's not something that's on the ivory tower or executive. So is there a roadmap to agile leadership? And we hear from Valerie first.
My initial response to that is it actually seems like a bit of an oxymoron to say, is there a roadmap to be agile? So I think that the roadmap to agile leadership, again, is about learning about oneself, learning about your team. And I think that being an agile leader is gaining confidence in mistakes and being comfortable with making mistakes and learning from them.
Thanks, Valerie. And let's hear from Malini.
I think the roadmap should actually start with a destination. And in the case of agile, the destination is actually understanding what is the purpose of our organization. Why are we here? What are we committed to? And what are the things that we need to change about the way we work in order to achieve that? So to me, that is really the starting point, trying to get clarity on purpose.
All right. Thanks for that, Malini. And Sarbojit, what are your thoughts?
Well, I just want to talk about that in the initial stage, that the quote I provided, that agile, this is always a journey. So the leadership is also about a journey. And we talk about that we are using this agile leadership for transformation. And if that is so, we cannot have one roadmap. We may have to have a lot of roadmaps, or rather we will have to change our roadmaps from time to time to adjust to it. We may begin with one, but as we go, we will have to adapt and adapt again and see that we are achieving the objective and then move on with a revised one.
All right. Okay. Thanks, Sarbojit. And let's hear from Giles now.
Sarbojit actually stole what I was going to say. So fantastic that we are on such a great panel with thought leaders today. I was going to say that there is no one roadmap. And I think, again, it's an ongoing journey. It'll never end. I've been aspiring to try and be the best agile leader I can be for nearly 20 years, and I'm far from it. So, there's a long way to go, still constant learning to happen with it as well. Is there a roadmap? I'm not sure. I think it's something you either want to embrace and become that authentic leader that Valerie was talking about earlier, or it's something that, is just not in your DNA to actually want to behave like that in the modern workplace. So, again, I think it just comes back to what are your passions, what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and how you can play up to those, or both of them, your strengths and your weaknesses at the same time. But there's multiple roads to go down. As Sarbojit said, there's no one single path.
Yeah, I was thinking that, Kimball, maybe you wanted to know a recipe, and unfortunately there is no recipe. So a roadmap can't be a recipe. So, right. But let's hear from Nataliya.
Yes, so there is this concept of abundance mindset, right? Scarcity and mindset, abundance mindset. So in the scarcity mindset, we operate in the traditional mindset, only thinking of what we know, applying what we know, but cultivating an abundance mindset, it's really opening the mind to possibilities. And like the other panelists mentioned, that it's important to continuously learning and being open to change. So really celebrating every win, sharing knowledge. This is also very important characteristics and in the roadmap to agile leadership.
Okay, thanks, Nataliya, and thanks, panel, for this question. And I think we have probably another one, Charlotte.
Thanks, Stephan. We've got a question from Martha. Martha asks, how do you handle resistance to agile methodologies from team members or stakeholders?
Oh, isn't that something we are all aware of, all the resistance? That's what the most important thing a change manager has to deal with. How is that? And now put that in relationship with agile methodology. So I think, oh yeah, that's something people want to have to say. I think Adrian was first, followed by Giles. So Adrian, please.
I'm minded to remember a quote from a guy called Steve Messenger, who used to be the chair of the Agile Business Consortium. And I've shared many platforms with Stephen over the years. And he said, Agile is a state of mind. And one of the key things that separates agility from other approaches, whether it's in software development, project management, engineering, marketing, or whatever, is that it has a specific behavioral context. Therefore, to be successful, really successful and deliver value, it requires a supportive organization culture. And the reason I kind of got into agility in the first place 12, 13 years ago was because a lot of organizations were trying to use agility, but without making any of the changes in organization culture. And especially if they're kind of highly centralized organizations that say don't delegate authority, that's toxic to agility. So it's not so much overcoming resistance, but it's actually organizations recognizing that they need to change in order to embrace agility, or just don't bother if they're not prepared to change, because they're just wasting their time and money.
Okay. Thanks for that insight, Adrian. And let's hear from Giles.
I think Adrian summed it up perfectly when he was talking about, obviously, this cultural approach which is required in the organization design. For me, I think it's this idea that you've actually got to educate people. You've got to bring them on the journey with you if you're trying to do this. Now, first off, you've got to decide whether your organizational design is actually ready for agile ways of working, agility across the organizational design. If it's not, then there is no point starting this, because that level of toxicity that Adrian was talking about will just permeate throughout all of the organization, and you will not succeed. You know, the sort of the record on the number of failed agile transformations over the year is still too high. For me, one of the biggest challenges is that the resistance to change actually comes from those people in an organization whose self-identity is actually attributed to the current ways of working. And as such, those people letting go of those innate processes, those business processes, those ways of working is really, really problematic. And I often find that that is one of the biggest challenges that we have to do. So with coaching, guiding, storytelling, talking about the benefits, the outcomes, the value, what an organization can actually operate like and behave like in an authentic, agile way is, for me, one of the ways I talk about resistance to agile or agile methodologies from stakeholders, team members. One of the biggest challenges I had when I was a Scrum Master, I always had a ceiling of an engineering manager who was the person who wouldn't let me permeate the mindset or the attitude across the rest of the organization. When I was an engineering manager, I had a head of engineering who wouldn't let me permeate that across the rest of the organization. When I was head of engineering, I had a VP of engineering who wouldn't let me go and take this approach and this mindset and this ethos to the rest of the organization and see where this is going. By the time I got to a CTO, I was able to now start taking it across to my peers in the exco, in the senior leadership team, and actually start telling them and bringing them on that journey as well about change so that they could be the champions of this resistance and actually sort of permeate it across their divisions and their departments in the organization as well. So it's a tricky one, but if you've been through it a number of times, you will end up with a number of sort of capabilities to be able to guide people in the right direction.
Okay, thanks, Giles. Good insight here. And let's hear from Malini then.
Well, there's very little to add after such, comprehensive and fantastic responses. What I'd like to suggest, Martha, is, just a general way to approach to handling resistance, whether it's to agility or, change management, any situation, is first actually try to understand why are people resisting, what you're offering. So approach the situation with empathy, deep listening, and respect, because you may have a vision, for something that's really wonderful, and everybody would benefit from working, towards that vision. But you have to actually meet people where they are, and lead them by the hand, right? So you might have to, consider what it's like to experience this from their shoes, from their perspective. And like Giles said, there might be concerns, like, if their entire identity, professional identity, is linked with the current way of working, there might be some fear that is at the root of this resistance, right? So try and understand, and then, you can come up with some interventions to address their concerns.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. And resistance is, I think, can be very difficult if somebody just wants to be an order taker and nothing else. Yeah. I remember when I was working for GE, there was a statement that says, "Control your destiny, or someone else will." The problem with that is it sounds like a threat, and it's not picking up people. It's not picking up people and take them to the next level that varying way. Sarbojit, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I have very little thing to add here, which is, as we talk about that, the safe environment, the safety culture that we talk about needs to be there, because people, if they are scared, they are resistant, they are then stubborn. They don't want to change. They don't want to accept the new thing. So what we have to inculcate in them is a culture of unlearning to relearn. So it's a personal transformation, which the leadership will have to sell to everyone in the organization. And first, they have to believe it, and then the rest of the organization will have to believe it. So resistance can be slowly be eliminated, perhaps to the least possible. We cannot make it zero, but we can make it the least possible for the time being.
Okay. Thanks, Sarbojit. And let's hear from Nataliya.
Yes. So it's important. The communication is important. So it's important to focus on what's in it for those who are resistant. So resistors need to understand what's in it for them, and so to get them on board, and then keep on getting them involved by obtaining their feedback early, and demonstrating that their feedback is considered, as well as practicing gratitude, such as celebrating every small win and providing feedback on their contribution to the Agile project.
All right, thanks, Nataliya. And there's Valerie, probably waiting for such a long time to finally give her a reply. Valerie, your thoughts?
I actually think resistance is a good thing. And the reason I think it's a good thing is because it shows that people are engaged. People have the concept that engagement means everyone's positive and happy. It's not. Engagement means they care and they're involved. So I'd rather have a vocal resistor than a quiet one I don't know about. I think resistance also gives us the opportunity to double check what we're doing. They actually might have a valid point that we may have missed. I think the outcome could be better. I also think it's an opportunity to demonstrate, as we said earlier, Agile leaders are excellent listeners. So sometimes helping people work through their thoughts and listening helps reduce the resistance. And so I actually think that resistance, while we all hate it because it'd be so much easier if people just nodded their heads, can be a good thing to the outcome of the project.
Yeah, thanks, Valerie. And Martha, there you go. So you had 6 replies. And our visitors or viewers out there, challenge the panel, please. Send us your live questions. Set them under pressure. You can see they have different perspectives. They don't agree everything on each other. So waiting and looking forward to your live questions. In the meantime, Charlotte, if we can just go to the next one that already has been submitted to us.
Stephan, we've got a question from David, who comes from Cardiff. David asks, of the 3 principles of Agile leadership, collaboration, communication, and coordination, which do the panel believe is the most important?
All right, now here comes the rule, yeah? So you select one and you give a short reason why, okay? So make this a short answer, thanks. We start with Sarbojit, followed by Nataliya.
Hi, David. Well, you have a very tricky question here. Now, I would like to ask you one question. If you are going for pizza, what would be the most important thing? Will it be the pizza base, or the topping, or the cheese? Right? I think you would say yes to all of them. That you cannot do away with any one of them when you want to have a pizza. So here it is the same thing in agile leadership. The collaboration, communication, and coordination are the key pillars. If we have to choose one, then we are restricting ourselves. We are trying to bring in a self-imposed, hardship and limitation in our agile leadership method. So I would say let's have all of them. 3 C's are better than 1, and so I would like to go with that. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarbojit. But the question was, you have to make a decision. Which one of the 3 is the most important? So you can't easily walk away with this, I suppose. But let's hear from Nataliya then.
Yes, based on my experience, I truly believe that communication is the key to success for collaboration and coordination in agile projects. Because if we communicate effectively the vision of the project and the expectations or contributions from each of the participants, the collaboration will be and coordination of the agile project will be definitely much more successful. So communication is key for me.
Okay, thanks. So communication, here we go. Next one is Giles, please.
I think Nataliya summed it up perfectly. For me, it's communication for me as well. It's the enabler for the others, that level of collaboration and communication. Malini said it earlier perfectly. It's, with the communication comes that empathy, comes that deep listening, as well as obviously being able to share the vision, share the values, the 4 values, the 12 principles from the Agile Manifesto to the people in an organization. So that level of communication for me is absolutely paramount. I've had teams over the years who have not necessarily followed structured agile frameworks, for example, but have actually just worked so well together, communicated so well together, that they actually delivered more outcomes and more value to customers than those that were actually following a prescriptive framework or a prescriptive methodology, elsewhere in the business. So for me, as Nataliya said, the communication is key to enable that amazing collaboration and coordination within the people and the teams that we work with on a daily basis.
Yeah, well, great testimonials here for communication. Valerie, what's your view?
Communication, but I'll be quick on this, Stephan. There's a saying that if you don't communicate or people don't know, don't worry about it. They'll make the story up for you. And that can be more dangerous.
All right, thanks for that. And Adrian, your thoughts, please.
Oh, well, I'm going to be the awkward one because I just don't agree with these principles. Certainly not in the project context. So for me, the thing about an agile leader, say a project manager, is use the term hands-off leadership, which doesn't mean to say you just stand completely back and let the team just go and get on with it. But it's like a parent teaching a young child to ride a bike. There comes that point where you take the hand off the back of the child, the back of the saddle, and you let them go wobbling away and getting stronger and better and more practiced. But as a parent, you're not standing, letting them get further and further away. You're kind of trotting along behind in case you need to either intervene because you see another child or a dog or a holly bush or a lamppost, or if the kid suddenly says, "Oh, mummy, daddy, I need some help," and then you're there, able to intervene if you're asked to, or if you feel you need to. So, and that encompasses all of those characteristics and others. But to me, no, it's hands off. That's it. So I'm going to disagree.
Well, and there's nothing wrong with disagreeing, Adrian. So, David, you heard it: hands-off management, a strong commitment to communication. So, there you are, and we have so many questions actually. So that's why I have to push a little bit on the accelerator. And I'm failing and on asking you guys making short answers, but they were valuable. So let's go to the next one, Charlotte.
Thanks, Stephan. We've got a question from Sarah in London. How did the panel become an agile leader? I guess how did they start?
Oh, right. So I think that's a question to everyone here on the panel. So make it short, please. Yeah, no long biographies. Let's start with Adrian.
I'll say 1986 when I first got involved in project management, and I realized even then about the people aspects, and I started my journey, not a roadmap, but a journey, which led me eventually to understand that all true project professionals are agile, whether they realize it or not.
Okay, thanks, Adrian, and thanks for a short answer, but down to the point. Okay, so we go next to Malini, please.
Well, I think it must have been about 13 or 14 years ago. I was, brought on board as a process improvement lead on a really big project. And I found nothing was actually. They had been working on it for a couple of years, and nothing was actually in place. Nothing was working as it should. And when I asked them for the specifications, they said, "Oh, we don't have any documentation. This is an agile project." And this was the first time I actually heard that term, agile project. And I thought something's not right here. And I started to educate myself, and then raise the awareness and educate my colleagues about what is agility and what should we be doing differently. And I think that's where my agile leadership journey actually started.
Started and continues, of course. Yeah. Well, let's hear from Giles then.
A bit like Adrian, actually. Mine started in the 90s with exposure to things like DSDM and Scrum. Became a Scrum Master in the early 2000s. I was a software engineer. My degree's in software engineering, so I'm a technologist. And I suppose what I've done throughout my career is keep the two things in parallel. as I have progressed my technology leadership, I've done the same with the agile leadership. So that I often say to people, I wear the two hats, that of an agile leader and a technology leader. And, I've grown through then becoming an agile coach, an agile instructor, and now obviously sitting on the boards of agile consortiums and things like that, as well as operating as a CIO or a CTO in an organization design. So I've just kept the two things absolutely in track with one another as I've progressed my career. And it's really helped me out. Having that agile mindset has just supported me all the way through my technology career as well.
All right, thanks, Giles. And then we hear next from Nataliya.
Yes, for me, it was my continuous improvement mindset that helped me get involved in the agile projects with opportunities to always search for improvement in the processes or products that we were developing. And as a result, it has been, I've delivered successfully projects with an innovative mindset as well, and kept on evolving and learning on these topics to be able to continue bringing value in my current roles.
Thank you, Nataliya. And Valerie, your thoughts?
I'd like to say that mine was as well planned as some of my colleagues here, but it was more a baptism by fire. I was brought in to lead change management and training for a very large regional electronic medical record for several hospitals. And I was trained in project management, given a large project management team, and we had a plan, and then the pandemic hit. And if it wasn't for being an agile leader, if it wasn't for the skill set of being a project management, agile leadership, we would not have been able to implement that electronic medical record in the timelines. And I don't think we would have been able to service our patients and our families in the way that we did. And it wasn't until we were over the pandemic, I don't know if we're really over it, and had implemented the electronic medical record that upon reflection, and I think that's important in agile leadership, is when the project is complete, reflection on lessons learned, we realized that being agile was the only option to be successful. And going forward, it's definitely the leadership style I would always lean on.
All right. Thanks, Valerie. And let's hear last from Sarbojit.
Well, my journey as an agile leader or in data of agile started by accident. I was in a project here in Singapore. We were setting up a huge stadium. And in that, we had my organization got to do all the applications, and my job was to test all the application and everything before we go live. Now, when I came into the team in October, and I was said the next Feb, we were supposed to be go live. And then when I went to the project director, he told me he is now doing requirement analysis. So I said, wow, we have to be a real miracle organization to make it to happen. And very quickly to say that it did not happen. Everything was almost falling apart when we decided to say that, okay, let's do it this way. Instead of having a big bang approach, why don't we break up our deliverables into small phases and group of applications and then roll them out one after the other? And that's when we started. Then my manager said, what is this approach? Is it your own approach? You are trying to bring in something from your own hat? Of course, he had reasons to be very upset. So then I went back to see that is there really any approach that fulfills this? Then I found out, yes, it's agile. And then when I told them, yes, this is what I'm trying to profess, and then he had more confidence, and then later on we could finish the project. So things happen sometime accidentally, but the key is you have to always change and come with an open mind and see that the problems that come in, don't think that they're showstoppers. Move on, find a new way, a new innovation, a new means to achieve or to walk towards your goal.
I think that, thanks, Sarbojit. I think there was said before that that Agile is a mindset. So I'm sure I heard this from you guys, and I see this for myself, that I was doing something like an Agile leadership before it was even called that way. So I didn't even know that there's a term for that. No boxes to be ticked. Anyway, let's see now. I called you visitors, you viewers, for giving us some really challenging live questions. Charlotte, have you received something in the meantime?
We have, Stephan, and one of the questions is from Mohammed, and I'm just accepting it now. I'm sorry. The question from Mohammed, who's watching on LinkedIn, he asks, what is the difference between Agile and PM?
Okay, so PM stands for project management, I suppose. And let's not go down the road of waterfall and agility and all that kind of stuff. Please, let's not. Very short answer, please. What's the difference? What's different between Agile and PM? Sarbojit kicks us off, then Adrian, then Giles.
Okay. Agile is a leadership and a servant leadership who works with the team, guides them, but not kind of a management where project manager is a manager whose job is to manage and control the project elements.
Thanks, Sarbojit. And Adrian.
There probably isn't really any difference, because project management agility is, if you like, simply agility, of like the Agile Manifesto, all 4 values and all 12 principles applied to all of project management. So it's doing project management, all of it, just in an agile way. That's it.
All right, thanks. Giles, please.
Nothing really else to add, actually. I think Adrian got it perfectly there. They aren't synonymous. You can't differentiate between them cleanly or clearly. One is an approach to work, one's a mindset and a holistic way of working in an organization. So, it's not square peg, round hole. The two things, you can obviously apply an agile mindset and an agile approach or an agile attitude and ethos when you're operating in a pure project management way of working. So there's nothing stopping you.
And Sarbojit, Giles, Adrian, I think I strongly have to agree with you. This is artificial. There is no difference. I mean, Adrian Dooley, who is the founder of the praxisframework.org, he always puts it down like the waterfall, or because there was a term agile, you needed an anti-term or something that is, so what is not agile? So it's completely artificial. So Mohammed, we're not making fun out of you, Mohammed, but the truth is there's no difference. It's the same. Right? Okay, thanks. And Charlotte, your next question, please.
Mohammed has another question, and Mohammed asks, how do you know the project type that is agile or not? What characteristics should we consider during the implementation?
All right. Mohammed, you don't want us to tick boxes, right? So this is agile, this is not agile. But I would like to really give this question to the panel. I don't see any hands yet, so give them a moment to think about your question, because it's coming in live. They had no chance to prepare. But Malini has a reply followed by Giles.
Mohammed, I think for me, one of the clear indicators is, are we delivering value early or not? So if we're sitting on something for a very long time and I'm not seeing any real value coming out, then to me, that's not being agile.
Okay, thanks, Malini. And let's hear from Giles.
It's one of these questions. Stephan, you said it right. It's, it feels like this should be a tick in the box question when it isn't. For me, again, any project that you are running, even if it's done in a pure Prince 2 way, for example, or whatever, can be run with an agile mindset. Even those organizations, I'm going to bring in the W word, the waterfall world, even projects run in waterfall, are actually often run in a way with an agile mindset. Could you imagine someone in a nuclear power station trying to do 2-week sprints to update the control panel with software, and it goes live and there's bugs and nuclear meltdown? Of course, they've got to have proper governance and waterfall ways of working there. But it doesn't mean that the people in there actually doing the work can't operate with an agile approach and a combined agile ethos in the organization. So this isn't really a question that I can answer. It's a fact that you can just simply apply that agile approach to any type of project, whether it's truly agile or not.
Thanks, and thanks for that example, Giles. I couldn't imagine sitting in an airplane which has been
building
built
it
purely on agile mindset. I think I would love to have these engineers following a few procedures and ticking boxes. But let's hear from Adrian.
Potentially, any project can be managed in an agile way, but again, picking up from what the panel have said 2 or 3 times in the last hour, agility is a lot about the organization culture around it. About a week ago, I posted an article that talked about the 2 geographies of projects, and projects succeed or fail because of what happens both inside the project and also whether or not the surrounding organizational landscape is supportive. And that's critical when it comes to trying to do things in an agile way. And you can have the most fantastically capable agile project team, but if they're trying to operate in a really toxic organizational landscape that doesn't support that way of working, they're really, really going to struggle.
Okay. Well, thanks, panel. Thanks for your insight with this question and also with all the other questions we could cover today. Unfortunately, our time is running out. So first of all, I would like to thank our viewers for the questions they brought in today, for the questions that they brought in earlier, submitting to our Slido platform. Great job. And those who've been live with us today, watch out for your name in the credits if your question was selected. My dear panel, it's time for your closing remarks. And so this is the chance where you can give our viewers something you still think should be on this show as a statement. So let's start with Adrian.
Oh, okay. I think if you out there are looking to embark on building your capability as an agile leader, I've got a little sort of faux equation I like to use, and that says that the capability you have is a combination of the talent you're born with, the knowledge that you gain through training, or reading or whatever, the experience you gain, and the judgment that you learn. Hopefully that equation could be of use.
All right. Thanks, Adrian, and thanks for your contributions today. Giles, your closing remarks, please.
I often get asked the question about how agile is an organization as an agile leader when sort of looking from the outside in. And I often just say your organization is as agile as your least agile part. And as such, for me, that's a key to whether you've actually got, really great agile leadership in your organization or not, whether you aspire to be. I mean, there are lots of people out there who will coach, guide, mentor you on those journeys. I've done it with a number of people over the last 20 plus years, and I'm sure the panelists here have done it as well. So for me, it's about obviously finding someone who can help coach, mentor you on your journey. There will never be an end to that journey. It'll go on until you retire. And obviously, I hope that you can then make the least agile parts of an organization more agile to truly bring that agility across the entire organization.
Thanks, Giles. And as a newbie to Level Up, you did a great job today. Thank you for that.
Thanks, Stephan.
Let's hear from Sarbojit next.
Hi. Mine is a very short one. I would say that Peter Drucker once said that culture eats strategy for breakfast. So culture is very key important for any organization to do anything, whether it's agile or anything else. So if we have to make an organization go through a transformation journey through agile, we must change the culture, the mindset of the people.
All right. Thanks, Sarbojit, and thanks for your contribution today. Let's hear from Valerie then.
I know that there's lots of questions about becoming an agile leader, and there's lots of opportunities out there to do that. That teaches you the skills of being an agile leader. Once you have the skills, though, to become a true agile leader, you have to take those skills and they have to become behaviors and a mindset. So it's not a checkbox. It is a behavior. It is a mindset that a true agile leader is. And that behavior and mindset transitions to everyone in the organization, irrespective of their title.
Thanks, Valerie. And also thanks for being here for your first time on Level Up. Hope to see you soon again here. Let's then hear from Nataliya.
Yes, thank you. Just to add to what has been said about how to become an agile leader, it's again, I want to emphasize on the importance of adopting an abundance mindset with identifying infinite opportunities and being open to those. And just to remind that true agility comes from freedom and not frameworks. So freedom in not limiting ourselves to any known, being open to the unknown and implementing those as well. Trying.
Thanks, Nataliya. Thanks for your contribution. I have to admit that your abundance mindset kind of hit me. I really love that concept.
I'm here to inspire.
yes, yeah, and you did. All right, thanks. And let's then hear closing remarks from Malini, please.
Thank you so much for having me as part of this conversation today. I know several times over the course of this hour, we've actually, a few of us have referred to the culture of the organization and how, the culture needs to evolve in order to enable, agility. And so if anyone's interested in learning more about how do we evolve the culture of an organization, how do we actually set up partnerships that can be sustained, do have a look at APMG's business relationship management certification offerings, because that's something that is covered in detail. And I think that's a great complement to any agile specific certifications that you might do.
Thanks, Malini. I have to admit, I'm a BRMP myself, certified. I love that. There are lots of other offerings APMG has, so it's worth checking out the website also about agility and about leadership and change. So thanks for that. Thanks, panel. And Charlotte, what a panel. What a show today, right?
It's been amazing. We always know that the word agile just brings out, I don't know, the best in everybody. Big thank you to our panelists. Thank you so much. Without you, we cannot produce these shows. Thank you to our viewers for your contribution. I guess I'd like to end the show on a little bit of a quote that I've made myself. And agile is not a methodology. It's not a form of yoga in being agile in your body. It is a mindset.
Yeah.
Just look at what they're doing in Las Vegas at the moment.
Yeah. Don't know what they're doing in Las Vegas at the moment, but I agree that's a mindset. All right. Thanks. Well done, everyone. Special thank you also to my fellow colleagues from APMG sitting in the background who made this live event possible, such as Connor, Adriana, and others. Dear viewers, over on our website, you can search for answers to more than 2,000 questions in the meantime. And you see the answers there. It's a free resource connecting you with experts from around the world, and it's a great repository. Don't forget, you can also listen to the audio versions of the shows on your preferred podcast platform. Coming up on Monday, the 20th November at 2 p.m. UK time, we discuss how to become a business analyst. And next Friday on the 24th of November, we have a German language level up show at 1500 Central European time, where we dive into how to become a good change manager, love it, leave it, or change it. If you sign up, we will send you a personal summary of what's coming up and how you too can join us here on the panel and level up your career with APMG. Thanks, everyone. See you on the next show.